Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to the daily update of my 1000 day challenge. This is day 280, so let's get things started. Alright, so first and foremost, you'll notice the balance is now around 100, and that's purely due to the experimental trade setup. There's two losses that I take, one in terms of Bitcoin and the other one in terms of Ethereum itself. So both in terms of triggering the stop losses. So I took losses based on that. All right, otherwise, in terms of the market structure updates on the daily chart itself, what you'll notice is that it still relatively remains bearish on the daily chart for S&P 500 and also Nasdaq. But if you look in terms of the daily chart, especially for today itself, as I'm doing this video a little bit late and the market has already opened, so you can see that we actually rebounded very nicely after we found support yesterday. So even though tentatively it was still bearish in that sense, yeah, actually we have a reversal beta, just high, higher, high. So yeah, sorry, actually this is a neutral market structure. So sorry for that. Yeah, because I thought that this was actually a new day, so I forgot to take this into account. So similarly for this, nothing much has changed. So you can see that for S&P 500, very nicely, we've tried to go lower than this 50 simple moving average on the daily chart, and we failed to do so. So tentatively, we're still technically bearish, but of course, this bounce and this support candlestick is definitely very interesting, and we open right above here. So if you're able to open and close above this 20 exponential moving average, then tentatively I'll be bullish again. But otherwise, tentatively right here, right now is actually a key resistance itself, as you can see on the horizontal support itself. So if we do not close very much above 13,800-ish, then I'll be leaning towards further bearish momentum and downside, or even consolidation within this region itself. All right, and for ASHR and KBAC wise, they're a little bit more different. So ASHR actually still stay towards this 50 simple moving average below it, but spending time right below it isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it goes to show that the selling pressure has been starting to pick up in terms of volume wise, but price isn't exactly going down. This goes to show that people are actually interested to buy the underlying stocks of ASHR as an index itself. So tentatively things look to be good, especially if buyers are a little bit more aggressive and could come right back in again. And for KYY, I did say that it's a little bit more bearish, even though yesterday we did form somewhat like an indecision doji kind of candlestick. So potentially support could be found today. But the more days we spend near this green color zone, the weaker it gets. So potentially we could break very much further below if there's a decisive break below here. And we could see the $66 region very soon. So let's see how price goes. But otherwise, I'm still tentatively leaning that there could be a potential bounce, especially if you see in terms of momentum wise, the selling momentum is not getting there stronger as price starts to continues to go downwards. All right, and finally for Bitcoin itself. So after closing a green bullish candlestick yesterday, the day before, actually closed with somewhat like a bearish candlestick, a red kind of a candlestick, which is rather insignificant in that sense. I would say this is rather a bit of noise. So you can see that even though volume was actually quite of interest, it's actually near the 20-day average in terms of volume wise, but price didn't actually manage to push downwards or upwards. So I would say that in terms of the buyers and sellers right now, they're tentatively relatively similar in terms of strength. So it really depends on how things goes. But the fact that it's actually staying near this 50 and 20 exponential moving average is a good sign. And finding support at this 20 exponential average is a good thing, because previously it acted as a very clear resistance. Now it seems to be acting as a very clear support. We have a false break kind of a setup. So I lean towards further momentum towards the upside, especially as price is still very much above 200 simple moving average on the daily chart. And on the weekly chart, things looks to be also a little bit good in the sense that we're actually relatively near this 20 exponential moving average on the weekly chart. If you look in terms of current price and to where we are right now, it will just be a 20% drop before we can verify very strong support. Because technically speaking, this 200 simple moving average on the weekly chart is known to a lot of people, and I'm very certain that a lot of people will be very keen to buy in terms of technical perspective if price would go near there on the very first time. So going there on the first time or the second time to me will likely be a very strong buying pressure coming in. But of course, if it's retested on the third, on the fourth, on the fifth time, then very unlikely, then very more likely they will actually break below it. But that is taking into account separate occasion itself, unlike over here on the recently before we actually bounced above, we actually retested over this region, not consecutively, but consecutively and not on separate occasions itself. So yeah, so tentatively, this is a very nice consolidation term. If you look in terms of where we have come over here, consolidation, we took into consideration of here. This will be at the 47K mark to where we are right now. We actually consolidated for 11 bars right now, almost 77 days coming this weekend. So things look to be really good because we have a very nice consolidation period over here. Unlike the previous round, if you were to look in terms of the 2017 kind of parabolic phase, we actually didn't have the consolidation phase that nicely. So yeah, the longest consolidation was right over here, we consolidated, and then right over here, we consolidated one more time. So if you measure in terms of consolidation here, you will see that we actually consolidated for around 14 bars or 98 days itself. So similarly, this time around, we could be consolidating for such similar period before we see this very large parabolic kind of movement, and in which case we actually had a breakout over here in terms of the high to the peak over there. We actually had another bull run of 1300%, which is 13x gain. Of course, I do not intend to see such kind of parabolic gain in this time round, simply because of the very huge market cap right now. The amount of money that you take to push to such high can be much higher, but of course we could still have a very much nice 2 to 3x gain, which would bring us very much to the target of 150 to 100 to 150,000, which is very much near the stock to flow kind of model kind of structure. If we do push slightly above that, then potentially we could see an overheat or overrun towards the 200K mark, in which case I see a very strong kind of rejection and sell-off. And personally myself, I would also consider selling partially in terms of Bitcoin, if it ever does reach that kind of level in this current bull phase itself. With that said, I've come to the end of today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop by your comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.